AI-generated music has made quite a leap in recent weeks. If you think artificial music is boring, or if you make music yourself and are hard to convince, or if you just want to know how it all works, then watch this video. I'll explain why Mureka AI is a really interesting tool, why most AI productions are boring, and how I managed to unlock amazing creativity from this AI. My name is Karsten Held. I am an AI specialist and songwriter. Let's get started. On March 26, 2025, Mureka AI from Singapore released a new update. Mureka is a music generation AI, so you can generate music with prompts. And with this update, we get the O1 model in conjunction with the existing V6 model. Then we get Model Fine-Tune, which is the ability to upload your own music and tell the model how you want it to sound. Then we get an API, which is an application programmer interface for developers. For example, for game developers who want to generate background music with Mureka based on what's happening in the game, you can also use it to create podcasts, generate lyrics, and produce songs. Everything that Mureka can do. Then there's chain of thought reasoning for music, songwriting, and arrangement. Very interesting. And now, Mureka can speak and sing in 10 languages, including Russian, Spanish, German, and so on, Chinese, and that piqued my interest. I've been testing it for the past 6 days and nights, especially at night, and I have to say, this O1 model has completely surprised me. What I heard wasn't just learned arrangement, but also invented arrangement. So, O1 is capable of being truly creative. We now have an AI that has leaped from merely parroting, and sometimes even better than humans, to inventing things that don't yet exist. And I wanted to show you that. Let's move over to the interface. So this is what it looks like. Very simple. Here we have create song or create instrumental. I won't go into that in detail now. You can try it all out yourself. I've focused on the song interface with advanced mode. Here you can enter the song title. Here it is. Here are the lyrics with the individual markers. These markers are super important. Mureka offers us intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, break, bridge, and outro. And I actually used them. Now we want an intro, for example. Then the first verse, 2 sections of the first verse. Then comes the chorus, a break, and then verse 2 again. Outro chorus, bridge, verse again, and then the chorus is repeated 3 times so I can fade it out. So that would be a song now. Now you would just need to click on create. Unfortunately, I can't do that because I don't have any credits left. But we can do one thing. We can go to V6. Then I'll just use up my last credits here to generate a song. It's up here now. It's currently being created. Here you can see how many songs I've actually generated. It's being created up there right now, and we'll listen to it once it's done. You can also see that I keep using the same song titles. I've taken 5 or 6 of my own songs, uploaded my own demos as reference tracks, and had countless variations made to understand how these models work. By the way, our song has now been generated. Let's give it a listen.
Every time you talk to me, I start dreaming how we'd be. But you look straight through my heart, keeping us forever apart. You're always chasing bigger dreams, leaving me behind the scenes. My feelings whisper quietly, you never hear or notice me. I am the moonlight you never see. You're chasing stars too bright for me. My love's a song you'll never hear, an echo drowned by silent tears.
So, pretty well done, but it's always the same 4 chords. The other one?
talk to me, I start dreaming how we'd be. But you look straight through my heart, keeping us forever apart. You're always chasing bigger dreams, leaving me behind the scenes. My feelings whisper quietly, you never hear or notice me. I am the moonlight you never see. You're chasing stars to bring to me. My love's a song you'll never hear, an echo drowned by silent tears.
I would keep listening. I actually like it better than the first track. The songwriting isn't particularly surprising, but it's well done. Interestingly, the voice sounds a bit muffled. It's the same voice as in the other song, but here it's somehow not as clear. That would need to be edited again. Interestingly, up here it says indie hip-hop. One should be that, the other is pop hip-hop. If you ask me, it's completely irrelevant what it says here. Different songs always come out. And then here, restless, warm, sad. That's actually accurate. They are both in the same mood, you could say, and that's why they are so similar. Sometimes, though, we have quirky dark, energetic, and quirky angry dog, so it varies sometimes. Here, we have the coincidence that the mood is the same, but the genre is different. The interesting thing about the O1 model is that it uses the V6 model to generate the sound, but it also gives it specific instructions for songwriting. That means the O1 model builds on the O1 V6 with a bit more intelligence on top. And that's what I've been using most of the time. Here, this is a V6 output. Let's have a listen. So the idea was to create an NDW track. The demo has been around for 10 years, the lyrics too.
Viele Stunden Reisezeit, zur Reise ist mein Geist bereit. Fremde Welten warten dort, im Traum besuche ich jeden Ort. Ich fliege glücklich durch die Nacht, mein Raumschiff ist nur ausgedacht. Mein Treibstoff ist aus Fantasie, so weit weg war ich noch nie. Wie die Trommel schlägt mein Herz, die Sehnsucht treibt mich himmelwärts. So viel Sterne, so viel Licht, so viel Dunkel sah ich noch nicht. Ich fliege glücklich.
So, that was 1 minute, yes, 1 minute and 4 seconds. And in this short time, a lot of creativity was unleashed. And that surprised me. I initially experimented with funk. That didn't really blow me away. Then a bit of disco here. I thought, oh, boring, I've heard all this before, but this really surprised me. And then I spent the last 5 days trying to figure out how to trigger this kind of songwriting. Let me show you what this creativity is all about. So here I have this song, and I'll gladly show you my reference track. Or first, let me show you how it sounds without a reference track. It just picked some random music style and set my lyrics to it.
Viele Stunden Reisezeit, zur Reise ist mein Geist bereit. Fremde Welten warten dort.
Pretty good pronunciation.
Such ich jeden Ort. Ich fliege glücklich durch die Nacht. Mein Raumschiff ist nur ausgedacht.
And that's why I uploaded my own reference song, because it was for the demo text. And that works excellently. Yes. I'll show you how a different song looks here. And you can also see the mark that I set. The intro is always very closely based on my guideline.
Viele Stunden Reisezeit. Zur Reise ist mein Geist bereit. Fremde Welten warten dort. Im Traum besuche ich jeden Ort. Ich fliege glücklich durch die Nacht.
Did anyone keep count? Here we have 4 times 8. Here we have 3 times 8. I have no idea how that happened. He just skipped counting to 8 once. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or just 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ich fliege glücklich durch die Nacht. Mein Raumschiff ist nur ausgedacht. Mein Treibstoff ist aus Fantasie. So weit weg war ich noch nie. Wie die Trommel schlägt mein Herz. Die Sehnsucht treibt mich himmelwärts. So viel Sterne, so viel Licht, so viel Dunkel sah ich noch nicht. Ich fliege.
Again. But this time it's not 3 instead of 4, but 5 instead of 4.
Ich fliege glücklich.
That means, before we go into the next chorus, an extra measure was suddenly added. And that's not in the text. The text is actually very regular, always nicely 4 lines. This doesn't happen here, and it wasn't in my demo track either. He just made that up. Let's listen to my demo track now, just briefly. This is the intro. The chorus is a bit different. I won't play it now because he doesn't know it either. In Mureka, we can only use 30 seconds of song material. So, as you can see here, I've uploaded the songs in different versions, but always just 30 seconds. We can select them, and I always chose the beginning, but sometimes it's not enough to convey the full sound. The chord changes. It's a bit unfortunate, but it's a limitation I had to work with. Nevertheless, the result is surprisingly good. Let's try a different title. This is a text generated by ChatGPT 4.5. It should be a lullaby for children. And I said, make it into a kind of Schlager. I even uploaded a reference song that is very Schlager-like.
Meine Augen schließe ich zu. Träume kommen schnell zurück. Ich schwebe sanft durch Sternenmeer, fühle mich frei und leicht so sehr. Mondlicht zeigt mir meinen Weg, träumend flieg ich unentwegt.
So the verse has a slightly different chord progression than the chorus. That's a good start. I always get bored with songs that use the same 4 chords from start to finish. But that didn't impress me. You can clearly hear that the intro is always similar because it follows my reference song. That was unusual.
Meine Augen schließe ich zu, Träume kommen schnell zur Ruhe. Bunte Bilder überall, flieg ich durch das Sternental. Ich schwebe sanft die Sternenmeer, fühl mich frei und mich unentwegt.
Well, taste is debatable, but not songwriting. And the songwriting here is relatively solid. But it's not as surprisingly good as what we heard at the beginning. Let's do another song. Here, for example, I have ChatGPT 4.5 again. What did I do? For example, I said he should pick two characters from a book by Balzac and have them engage in a love affair. This was to see what happens when you give him more context. Context is essentially information about the story. And here, you can see how I did it. I won't go into that now. At some point, I finally got my love song here, and we can see that the love song is relatively schematic.
Every time you talk to me, I start dreaming how we'd be, but you look straight through my heart, keeping us forever apart.
That actually has nothing to do with the two characters from that Balzac novel anymore. But I said, whatever, I'll just use this text and what came out of it.
As I'm lost, unseen,
A disco song.
trapped within this wistful.
But that's on me. I just gave him a reference song that has a disco or 80s vibe.
My love so whisper soft and thin, lost beneath your worldly din. I am the moonlight you never see. You're chasing stars too bright for me. My love's the song you'll never hear, an echo drowned by silent tears.
That's not really surprising. We've heard all of this 1,000 times before. Here's another song. Now I just left out the reference song and simply said, make a love song.
Every time you talk to me, I start dreaming how it'd be. But you look straight through my heart, keeping us forever apart. You're always chasing bigger dreams, leaving me behind the scenes. My feelings whisper quietly, you never hear or notice me. I am the moonlight you never see. You're chasing stars too bright for me. My love's the song you'll never hear.
So the production is pretty good, yeah. It's missing a bit of treble and is a bit overcompressed, but it definitely hits hard. But the songwriting is bad. Yeah, the arrangement is great, but the songwriting, it's always the same 4 chords. It's the cheapest pattern there is. We've not only heard it 1,000 times, we've heard it 8,000 times. And that's what you get when you leave out the reference song and make the lyrics too superficial. And that intrigued me. Now we have a different song here. Again, I used my reference song, my NDW demo, which has an interesting chord progression and an interesting bass line. And let's listen to what he made out of it.
Ich wach auf, kalt und nackt, Schläuche um mich voll verpackt. Mein Herz vibriert, ich check rein nichts. Ich zittere krass, muss raus ins Licht. Die Tür geht auf, alles blinkt. Raumschiff Brücke, ein Sound, der klingt. Auf dem Screen ein Name steht, Ende der Reise. Zielplanet. Mach den Walkman an, konzentriere dich. Der Rhythmus kommt, verwandle dich. 1, 2, 3, der Beat beginnt, der Kopf wird frei. 4, 5, 6, der Körper zuckt, vom Sound verhext. Reise durch die Galaxie, an diesen Ort war ich noch nie. Wo komm ich her, wo will ich hin? Ich fühl mich irgendwie mittendrin.
Yes, this is not the same text. It's a different version of this text. But you can tell the chords are always the same, but it has a bit more information. This track moves forward, let's play another track. Same lyrics, different track.
Ich wach auf, kalt und nackt. Schläuche am Körper, bin verpackt. Mein Herz vibriert, ich check rein nichts. Ich zittre krass, muss raus das Licht. Tür geht auf, alles blinkt. Raumschiff Brücke, Sound erklingt. Screen zeigt mir, wohin es geht. Reise beendet, Zielplanet. Mach den Mob mehr an. Konzentriere dich, der Rhythmus kommt. Verwandle dich. 1, 2, 3, Beat beginnt, der Kopf wird frei. 4, 5, 6, Körperzug vom Sound verhext. 1, 2, 3, Beat beginnt, der Kopf wird frei. 4, 5, 6, Körperzug vom Sound verhext.
Okay, so you can see that there is indeed some artificiality in the voice. Some notes aren't hit correctly, and when it goes too low, it starts to rattle. Even with the woman who sang earlier, you could tell the voice is still a bit artificial if you listen closely. But the phrasing, the way the text is spoken, it has something that draws you in. This is somehow realistic. It's real. And that really surprised me. So why are my very first song and my last song, compared to the others, so good? Then I read a bit into the paper from this company Mureka. So there are a few researchers, maybe some Chinese, maybe some people from Singapore, I don't know. For me, these names are a black box. I can only assume that they all come from a Chinese background. And now there are a lot of descriptions of how they did it. Here, you can see the O1 model trying to fill these blue boxes with thoughts. And these thoughts are as follows. We start with a piano, then comes the drums, then we want the chorus. The bass should always do the same thing, but it can deviate a bit beforehand. And that is then used to transform it into these red boxes. And this is exactly the combination of the O1 model, blue, and the V6 model, red. Because before, we always did it like this. You just took these prompts and the audio information you had and directly turned them into music. And that can work. But often, especially at the end, it either becomes too creative and drifts off somewhere, or it stays the same. And with this O1 model, I've actually had very, very good results, where a bit more creativity is added, but still related to the same theme. This O1 model is actually capable of grasping the essence of the song, both music and lyrics, and translating it into sound. I read further, and although I don't understand much of it, I found this interesting and even marked it. The model, or rather the method they use, whether with O1 or without, I believe it applies to both. It tries to embed the music, my reference track that I upload, and the text, the lyrics, into the same vector space. What does that mean? So, they don't just take the text and try to graph the phrasing onto the music. They don't just take the music and try to fit it under the text. Instead, both are related to each other in terms of content. So we have to imagine that such a vector space consists of semantic units. And these units of meaning are either close to each other, like cow and milk, or very far apart, like steel and cow. And now he tries to transform the music into a virtual unit of meaning as well. We might imagine this with emotions, like dynamic, energetic, or romantic. These are the musical sense units, or saxophone. And he tries to align the text as closely as possible. In this case, more the music to the text, because the text already exists. And in my opinion, that's really innovative. And in my opinion, that's part of the explanation why it sometimes works so well. So now comes my idea. What could be the reason? I have various texts here. And while I fly happily through the night of strange worlds and spaceships and fuel and fantasy and drums and heart and longing, it's about stars, light, darkness. There are many terms, and they actually exist in reality. There are stars, there is light, there is darkness, there are drums, and there is a heart. So let's put all these words into a part of the world that is called the material world. And these other texts, I float gently through a sea of stars. Moonlight guides my way. Dreaming, I fly endlessly. That's more in the middle. While the other song here, every time you talk to me, keep us forever apart. Moonlight you never see. Chasing stars, too bright for me. Drown in silent tears. So, this is very metaphorical. It's more in the immaterial realm. These are concepts and thoughts that you can't touch. And I think that on this axis from material to immaterial, the further the song is over here, the more the song talks about and deals with things that are actual places in this vector space, and not so much concepts, the better the creativity of this model is triggered. It could be that I'm wrong, but I've now made really 400 to 500 songs, and I've noticed that lyrics that tell a story with real things in them work much, much better. Let's go back to the last song lyrics. Here, we really have a story. So the story is right at the top here. Let's create a song about a story. Someone wakes up in a dark room, it's cold, they're naked, it smells like medicine and rubber. Then a light, they see a closet with clothes and get dressed. They walk through the door, down a long hallway. The story is, someone wakes up on a spaceship from deep sleep and has suddenly arrived. Goal of the journey reached, there's the planet, and then he gets into the shuttle, flies down, it's a machine world full of robots, and they're dancing, and he's welcomed, and then he dances along, and huge party, everything's awesome. That's the story of this text. And it's very much grounded in the material, not so much in abstract concepts of feelings. And that might be an explanation for why this Mureka Music AI, with these specific types of lyrics, achieves better results. And with that, we've reached the end of the video. I hope it was as exciting for you as it was for me. I definitely learned a lot, and I would be very happy if other people who have experience with Mureka AI or other AI-based music generation tools could share their experiences with me. And my question would be, for example, on what level should we view this type of creativity that we've heard today? Is it enough, or do we need more? And if so, what does that look like? What is still missing? Otherwise, I would really appreciate a like, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.